All right. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Richard, and it is 8 p.m. Happy daily 8 p.m. Live stream, you know how it works every single day, 8 p.m. That's how we roll. All right, so today's topic is how do we create life goals, our life goals, life mission, and our vision of our life. I think this is a very big topic that we'll say a lot of us struggle with. And please forgive me, I'm kind of getting set up still. I just want to make sure that I'm live on time. All right. So again, this whole conversation today is how do we create life goals, our vision, and our mission. This can, how do I say this? I'm going to provide you as much information as I know around this topic. Of course, me being a human being and someone who's very focused on a vision, a mission, and a purpose and goals, I have some practice, but I'm not perfect. You know, there's things that I still struggle with in terms of clarifying what is my vision for my life. I think other people will be more qualified than I am, but I'm going to be here to create conversation, and I'm going to give you as much as I know, so I can at least support those who are kind of lost and they don't really know, you know, like what's the purpose of life? What am I doing here? How do I set goals? I don't know really what my goals are besides maybe passing my class or something like that. So, how do we create larger goals that are really going to sustain us? I think this is going to be a pretty mind blowing conversation today. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to plug in my headphones. Alrighty. Cool. Got headphones in. I got a knot in it, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. Alrighty. So, let's go. Let's do this. Alrighty, cool. So I want to start with, again, there's three different categories I want to start with. Sorry, I should have gotten set up earlier. There's three main categories. There might even be four about life. So we're going to talk about goals. Goals are more short term. You know, how do you create, like, let's say 6 months goals or 1 year goals, you know, or 2 year goals. So that's goals. Vision is what's the bigger picture that you want to accomplish in your whole entire lifetime. That's like, for me, my current vision is to make a difference in 10 million students' lives by teaching them how to embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and also to live life in alignment with who they truly are. That's a little. I'll dive deeper into that later. It's not perfect, and I'll tell you more about that later. The last one is your life's mission. Like, what is your purpose? What is your mission in your life? And these are all things that are going to take a little bit of time. I'm just going to straight up say, I would almost say this video is a little bit for two types of audiences. One is maybe younger, we'll call students who are a little bit still trying to figure out life. And I would say adults who are still trying to figure out life. If you already know your vision and your mission and stuff like that, maybe a lot of this conversation today may not be for you. However, if you have experience in figuring out how do you create your vision, mission, and purpose and goals, I would love for you to, hop on in and kind of maybe suggest some ideas for people to better clarify their vision, their mission, and their goals. I could use some myself because I'm still working on the vision piece. All right, so let's dive into this. I'm going to start with, how do I say this? I'm going to start with what, micro? I'll go with micro and then go macro. Or I don't know, I'll go more short term. So let's talk about goals. What's the best way to do this? Here, you know what? I'm just gonna feel it out. I'm gonna go in Richard's order of how I kind of figured out my life in a way. So I'm gonna start with the mission. You know, what is the mission of my life? The mission, to define what mission is to me, is it's like, what do you want to accomplish? But it's more like, it's almost like there's no goal attached to it. There's no vision attached to it. It's just, mission is just like, this is what I want to do because I know it matters to me. So my mission in my life is to help, was it to help people, especially teens and young adults, build up their self-esteem. That's my mission. It's to, more specifically, to get people to embrace their insecurities that they have, you know, accept them. Number two is to just love themselves, to be comfortable with themselves. And number three is to create life that, live life in alignment with who they truly are. Water. Okay. So that's my mission. Let's see.
I will answer your question, Elisa, right now since it's right here. So, have I, Richard Elefanti, good to see you on. Hey, Richard, let me know what your question is. I didn't get a chance to read the email. I don't know if you responded back to me. Let me know. Let me know what your question was from yesterday if I missed it. Sorry about that. I don't, I don't try to intentionally miss questions. Elisa says, have I ever considered religion before? Uh, I have when I was younger. I used to follow, you could say I tried to follow Christianity, and I went to church 2 to 3 times a week. I went there for the wrong reasons. I went there because, my friends kind of dragged me to go to church, and I had to, listen to my own internal voice and realize that, I didn't necessarily believe in God. So I had to do some soul search. Like I had to leave that environment where I was getting pressure to believe one way when I didn't believe it. So I had to take a step back and soul search, like just give myself freedom to figure it out. And today, I don't follow any specific religion. I appreciate religion. I love the values that religion teaches. I love learning about religions. I don't subscribe to one, but I love learning about Christianity, how they think, Buddhism, whatever, all these different isms. Um, anyway, so my current belief is that I do believe there is a quote unquote higher power. I call it the universe. I think whether it exists or not is almost irrelevant to me. For me, what's more important is that it's like a guiding force for me. It's like something that I can appreciate. The universe it's real. It's like the universe is out there. We are in the universe. So yeah, like I give gratitude towards the universe, like thank you for all the gifts I've gotten, all that stuff. Anyway, so let me get back to mission. So honestly, I feel like the easiest way to help people figure out what is your mission is to talk about how I figured out my mission in my life. Again, the one thing I want to point out is like if you don't know like how to set goals or what your mission is or what your vision or what your purpose is in your life, really it's just a process. Like let it be imperfect. You don't need to be perfect with it. It's a constant learning journey. So with my mission again is to help people build up their self-esteem. That's the short version of it. How this came about was you could just say practice. It was just digging deeper and trying to understand what am I passionate about. And when I was working, we'll say about 3, 4 years ago. We'll go with 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I didn't know what my mission in my life was. I knew, well, actually, I sort of knew. I knew my mission, kind of like my purpose in my life, was to help people, but it was so vague. Like I didn't know how I was supposed to help people. I just knew I wanted to help people. I used to do. This is funny. I don't really talk about this, and this is. It's funny that I'm talking about this because I don't really talk about this. But I remember back in the day, before I had a quote unquote purpose of my life, before I figured any of that stuff out, I just knew I wanted to help people because it felt good. So I remember I used to do things like at my old work, we used to have this little online message board, and under the free section, I would be like, free lunch. That's all. It was like free lunch. Just shoot me an email and let's hang out and chat. So I used to do things like that. Like I used to help. I don't know how, like just spread positivity in whatever ways that I can. Um, there's little other things I did, like one time I used to go to Subway all the time. The sandwich place, and I used to eat there a lot. So I made good relationships with the owners and then or the managers. And one day I was like, hey, like it'd be really cool to gather up a bunch of friends and feed homeless people, local homeless people. So I asked the Subway, I'm like, hey, would you be willing to donate subs? And they donated like 20 subs to us, which is awesome. That's like $100 worth of subs. And we went out and we just, gave them out. Like for me, that was kind of what I found purposeful in a way. Like at least it was fun and it felt good doing it. So I wasn't really clear on what my mission was back then besides helping people. And then once I quit my job, this was again about 4 years ago. I quit my job almost exactly 4 years ago. 3 years and 11 months. But once I quit my job, I started, digging a little deeper. I knew I want to help people, and I knew I was into leadership. I knew I was into just kind of like something around coaching and leadership. So mentoring. So that's when I went on that path of mentoring, and I started figuring out for myself. I was like, okay, Who can I help? I'm this 20, how old was I? 23, 22, 23. I'm going to say I was 23. So I'm this 23-year-old kid who has his own problems. How do I, who am I supposed to help? I can't really help older people because I don't have a lot of experience. So I'm like, okay, well, I could help slightly younger people. For me, that was high school students. So I started thinking about how do I help high school students or college students because I was a high schooler and I was a college student. And um, I realized I just started creating as much content that was like, what were some of the struggles that I faced in my life? Self-esteem and depression was something that I faced in high school. So my my third video was how to overcome self-esteem, like low self-esteem and depression. And from there, it still took a long time to figure out like what is my message, what is my mission. But over time, the more I just practice, I realized my mission became. They say there's a quote that says, "Your mess is your message." So my mess was having low self-esteem. Like that was the biggest thing in my whole entire life. That was an overwhelming story in my whole entire life. So over time, as I created more and more content, I realized there's a lot of parallels. I didn't know, again, 3 years ago, I didn't know what my topic was, but I just kept creating content. And the more I created content, the more I noticed I just naturally gravitate towards, a little bit of self-improvement and also working on this whole self-esteem piece. Because 3 years ago, it was something I was still struggling with. I still had low self-esteem. If you watch my old videos, I'm very open about it. There's moments where I just cried. I had breakdowns because I kept beating myself up over and over and over again. And guess what? I beat myself up, not only 3 years ago, but 2 years ago, and then 1 year ago, and then this year. Like it's something that I'm continuing to improve on myself. It's a huge journey for me, and the fact that it's been such a big part of my life and big struggle for me just makes it that much more ingrained that this is what I get to do. This is my journey of me trying to discover and be more confident and build up my self-esteem, and at the same time, I gotta help other people through that same process. So that is how I figured out my own personal mission. So I'm going to throw it back to you. If you're looking to figure out, what is your mission in your life, I think you get to figure out, start with whatever you have. Even if you don't have much in this moment, you can still start to begin to figure out what is your mission. What are things that kind of light you up? What's part of your core, like if you were to, I don't know how to say this, like if you were to describe yourself in three words, what would those 3 words be? These are places to start. What are 3 things that you enjoy doing? Like let's say, man, I don't want to create that stereotypical question, but it's like if you already had all the money in the world, what would you be doing? But I don't know. That's a half question. I like it, but I don't like it. Like a lot of the answers are going to be, well, I like traveling. It's a good place to start. Having something is better than having nothing. So you could, if you're stuck, ask yourself that question. If you had unlimited, let's say you had, as Tom Bilyeu, who's Impact Theory, it's a podcaster that I listen to. He's like, if you had, his number is always, if you have $7.4 billion in your bank account, so you have pretty much all the money you need, what would you be doing with your life? Sure, maybe you want to go travel, go explore and have that freedom, go vacation. But what else do you want to do? Is traveling all that you want to do, or is there something else? For a lot of people, for a lot of us, I think a lot of us want to go travel, but then at the same time, we don't want to be just traveling for the rest of our lives. I think there's a part of us that wants to do something a little bit more, and I think it's a very human part of us that we want to help each other out. Help other human beings. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You start with your basic needs: food, water, shelter, love, and then top is like self-actualization. It's that how do you say it? Like we want to fulfill all those needs. So yes. Hey Cupid, good to see you on. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate your support all the time. And yeah, I don't know how you're texting and driving. Unless you're doing voice dictation, that's cool too. All right, not gonna judge. I'm just kidding. All right. So mission. If you were looking to figure out what your mission is in your life, Really, you just got to start with what you have. Don't focus on trying to get a perfect mission. Just start with whatever you have. Like it does not have to be perfect. Um, I'll give you, let's see. Yes, I'm gonna leave it at that. If anyone has any questions around how do you create a mission for your life, just ask. And by the way, at the end of this conversation, I'll summarize, how to create a mission, how to create a vision, and how to create life goals, um, at the very end. So don't worry about it if you didn't catch it right now. I just want to make sure that we have a good flow going, and we cover everything. Jose, good to see you on. Thanks for stopping by, saying hello. All right. So we talked about mission, life mission. How do you create life mission? We're going to move on to number two. How do you create a life vision? Ooh, hold on. Do I want to do this one? I got to feel this out. I got to feel out if this is the right one to do next. Vision. Vision is the toughest one for me. Like this one I struggle with so much. Hold on. What do I want to do here? Goals. You know what? I'm going to go with goals is number two. How do you create goals that are going to get like just move you forward in your life? So first of all let's define goals. Goals are more. I consider goals a little bit more short term. Goals are more. They can be long term. You could set 10-year goals or 20-year goals. Sure, absolutely. You can set 1 year. You could set 3-month goals. You could set hold on. You can set 1 month goals. 3-month goals, 6-month goals, 1-year goals, 3-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals. It just keeps going. It's up to you. Goals. I personally like goals. This is the one I'm most comfortable with because I've practiced it a lot, thanks to Compass Trainings, which is the Compass Trainings and other training programs that I've been through. So some of you might have heard me talk about this thing called a LOD, or a letter of declaration. Araceli knows exactly what I'm talking about because she's in the same program that I am. And essentially, goals. How do I say this? When we create goals, I'm trying to figure out like what is the most important piece of creating goals. I think the most important piece of creating goals, in my opinion, I would say is doing something that stretches you, doing something that's going to help you believe in yourself a little bit more, and doing something that challenges you in a way that you feel like, oh shoot, no, there's no way I can do that. It's realistic, but it's also a huge stretch. And for me personally, I love goals because it's an opportunity, it's a tangible opportunity for us to prove to ourselves that we actually can do it, even though we felt like we couldn't do it. Goals. All right. I'm going to be very, very, very honest here. Once upon a time, I used to have these big goals. Like I used to have this 10-year vision for my life. Let's see, is that right? Yes. I'm pretty sure when I was 25 years old, 24, 25, I created this 10-year goal that I was going to, it was extreme, but I'm okay with that. And okay, so here were my 10-year goals back like 2 or 3 years ago. I had goals like, okay, I am going to, hold on, am I going to bust this out? Yeah, I'll bust it out. Hold on, give me a second. Let me bust out my old goals. Like, it's fascinating. Like, I set some really big goals for myself. So big that I didn't even know how I was going to do it, but I'm like, you know what? I'll figure it out. Hold on, give me a sec. It's on a whiteboard that I did not ever erase. It's kind of stuck in the corner. Here we go. Alrighty, here it is. Alrighty. Oh goodness, this thing's huge. All right, so I should have wrote the date I made this. I don't remember when I did this, but it must have been probably 2 or 3 years ago. Are you ready for this? This is my intense list of goals. I don't follow this anymore, because I've kind of reset my goal standards and stuff like that. But here we go. By the way, this is going to be really interesting to go over for me because what's crazy is when I wrote this down, these were huge stretch goals. Like I literally was in a phase of my life where I'm like, this almost seems impossible, but I think some of these I'm getting pretty close to. All right. So body, strong, lean, 6-pack, high energy, clear skin, no dandruff, well maintained. I'll tell you right now that in the next 2.5 months, next 2 months of my goals because I have a set of goals due February 25th. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm already on track with having clear skin. I never thought I'd ever have like clear skin and no dandruff. Because I've been eating healthier, my dandruff is not really a problem anymore. Dandruff for me used to be chronic. Like it's literally I've had nonstop dandruff for at least 10 to 15 years of my life. Like it's annoying because I'm constantly flaking. It's so hard to wear black, all that kind of stuff. Let's see, high energy. I'm working towards that. Strong lean six pack. Working towards that. Well maintained, yes. Eating healthy. It's crazy. I never ever thought I would be able to mentally create these strong habits. Emotional and spiritual growth. So under this is I'm always grateful, always positive and happy, always self-aware, always conscious, accepting, peaceful, loving, present, courageous, powerful, honest. These are all always authentic, always vulnerable, always humble, always giving, supportive, connected. Plus, I read one book a week on average. I seek to be my best daily. So this is just like a mindset thing. Like this is what I want to do, and I don't I don't read one book a week, but I learn every single day for at least 30 minutes, which is I would say pretty close to reading a book a week, which I really love. I seek to be my best daily. It's cool because when I wrote this, I didn't have that strong mindset of keeping myself disciplined. Now I'm on track with this. I'm not perfect, but I'm on track with seeking to be my best daily. All right, let's talk about relationships. So my relationship goals back in the day, I'm going to guess this is about 2 years ago I wrote this. Super connected, authentic, vulnerable, real, joyful, intimate, madly in love with my wife. I deeply love my family and have deep relationships with ambitious, like-minded people. So, oh, by the way, this is my goal for when I'm 35 years old. That's yeah, that's my goal when I'm 35. I will say I'm on track with this. So this is getting a little bit personal, but I am dating someone. If you did not hear about that already, and I have we've only been dating for a month, but it's been a pretty good relationship. You know, I would say it's pretty connected and authentic and vulnerable and joyful. Yep, intimate. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. So it's on track. All right, let's talk about home. Home is very clean and well organized. That's something that's definitely on track. I mean, in terms of just where I live right now, I like cleaning, modern and matching furniture, and a $3.5 million beachfront house in Newport Beach. That's woo. I don't think that's my goal anymore. That was a cool goal to have, and it was a nice like, you know, believing in myself. The main purpose of this was not so I could have a $3.5 million beachfront house, but rather because I wanted a goal that if I accomplish it, it's kind of like a Richard, I knew you could do it. You know, I trusted you. I broke through the barriers of my self-limiting beliefs, and I did it. What's up? What's up? Russian name. Cannot read. Can't read Russian. Not that talented yet. All right. So schedule. I hope this is helpful. And if I'm going into too much detail, let me know, and I'll just shut up. Perfectly fine with me. All right, so schedule, busy yet flexible, intentional, wake up at 4:30 a.m., sleep at 10 p.m. 4:30 is a little early for me, to be honest. But yeah, I sleep at 11, I wake up at 5:30. So it's pretty close. Work from home, scheduled work / personal time to spend with loved ones and others daily / weekly. All right, let's talk about my work right here. So this is my work. I love what I do. Work from home 4 to 5 days a week. Travel worldwide at least 2 times a month. Mostly automated work. Work with my team of 5 to 7 people. So, you know, I like having a small team and having good relationships with them. Constantly have personal relationships with people. So just having good relationships with people. All right. All right, let's dive into this second to last category, which is finances. So by the age of 28, my goal is to hit 100K, make $100,000 in a year. I'm currently 28. I got 6 more months. Is that going to happen? No, that's not going to happen. But, I'm still working I'm grinding hard to at least, if I started 6 months earlier, I think that's a possibility. But I'm a little bit behind because of my mindset and all the challenges and crap and excuses I made for myself. By age 30, I want to make 250K. This is a little bit of a stretch, to be honest. 32, 500K, and then by 35, $1.2 million per year. This is the goals I set for myself 2 years ago. My goals aren't as ambitious as this anymore, and I'll tell you why afterwards. Let's see. So finance, I want financial freedom, live comfortably, give to others, invest intentionally, and so that's my financial goals. Let's see. All right. And last one, impact slash, ooh, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Impact goals right there. Impact goals is build the world's largest community for self-esteem, community building expert, so I know how to build communities, inspire low self-esteem people to create their own legacies. Awesome. So these are literally the goals. Again, I'm going to estimate I wrote these about two years ago. I used to have that on my phone, and that used to be my wallpaper. So I don't know. I love the goals. You know, they're ambitious, stuff like that. It gave me a certain direction to head towards. What else? Another thing I want to mention is our goals will constantly change. All right. Let's see. Hold on. I want to make sure that, cool, I didn't miss any comments. All right. Whew. All right. So let's talk about I want to talk about my current goals real quick. So my current goals are a little bit different from that. Of course, most of you already know my main goal. My main goal is to book 30 paid speaking gigs by June 8th, 2018. So honestly, my vision for my goals are much more short term. I only have a 6-month vision versus a 10-year vision like I did before. However, this winter break, I'm going to spend some time to think about, what are my goals? What kind of house do I want? And I don't know. I'm not attached to a $3.5 million beachfront house. I really am not. Like, that was a cool goal to have, but I think I'm at a place where I don't need to prove to myself anymore that I can do it. I just know that I'm capable. And I don't know, like, money to me has never been a huge focus in my life, and I kind of don't want money to be a huge focus in my life. Like, I'm not about money. Money's great. It's great. Like, I want to make enough money to live a comfortable lifestyle, to invest, to make sure that, in case something happens to me, I get into an accident and I got to pay lots of medical bills, that I can cover that, kind of stuff like that. But I don't need, billions of dollars unless I figure out a way, how can I use this money to impact the world, type of thing, But honestly, in this 20-year-old version of Richard, I don't have that kind of vision yet, but I'm open to it. So I'm happy to play around with it, but for now, I'm just focusing on my more short-term goals, one thing at a time. What else I have to say? Okay, so let me talk about why my finance goals changed. I kind of already gave you a hint, which is my finance goal has changed in the past 2 years. Again, because I realized, for me, I don't need a $3.5 million house. That was a huge motivator for why I wanted to make a lot of money back then. But like today, it's like, oh goodness, I would rather take that money, buy a cheaper house, one that's comfortable enough for me to live in. I don't need a beachfront house. I could go to the beach whenever I want. Yeah, one that's just comfortable enough for me to live and, produce results, like do work out of, and whatever, be a home base for me. But besides that, I mean, what is that? That can't cost more than $1 million, really. Maybe it's 5 to 800. I'm going to go with $700,000 to $800,000 for a house. I think that's a reasonable house cost in Southern California, which is, tentatively where I want to live. We'll see. I'm open to opportunities and, changing life directions and stuff like that. So that's kind of why my vision has changed, because I don't want to focus on money so much. I don't want to be very materialistic. I want to keep life super simple and just kind of serve. I think that's a huge part of my life, is just giving, just doing these YouTube lives for free, answering tons of Quora questions for free, because I just enjoy just kind of giving, and this is what I kind of live for in a way. So there we go. Alrighty. Ooh, yay, questions and comments and stuff. All right, Denise says, I've been watching you for a while now, and I love you. You're so sweet. I can see you're such a caring person by just watching your videos. Keep doing you, Richard. Hope your father is doing well. Can you shout me out? I'd love to get noticed by you, even for a second. I totally agree with you, Richard. I love your mentality. Denise, Aratman, thank you so much. Seriously, like that's such a huge compliment. I think to me it's a huge compliment in so many different ways. Number one is the fact that you've been following me for a while. Like that is such a big compliment to me. I feel like that's the biggest compliment that you can give because it shows that the content I'm producing is actually valuable enough that you actually want to keep watching this content. And to me, I feel like that's the most important thing. Well, what's more important than that is you're watching the content and taking action in your life. That's the most important thing for me. But thank you, I appreciate that a lot. And Denise, you absolutely do get a shout out. You know, and this is I don't know how to say it. Like this is a family right here. You know, I'm not here to. One of my biggest enemies is my ego. Like it's a constant battle. One thing I hate myself for is having an ego. And I shouldn't hate it because it's just it's human. But like I feel like my ego gets in the way of what I truly want to do. Like, you know, like I do want to serve and I don't want to focus on looking good doing it. And you know, being human is just like we struggle with this. It's a constant like how do we I don't know how to say this. It's like I feel like our ego, but ego I hope I don't need to define ego. I feel like it's complicated. Ego is like this. It's it's like our sense of self. You know, it's like this physical body, this Richard right here, you know. This to me is ego. And my ultimate goal, I believe my belief is that happiness is rooted when we let go of our ego. When we stop focusing on ourselves and we just live life outside of that. You know, I don't know how to say it, like it's just I feel like ego creates suffering. When we focus on our ego, when we're trying to feed our ego, when we're trying to get followers and likes and validation from other people, I think that's so like unrewarding. You know, it's like this empty kind of reward, and it feels good. It's almost like how do I say it? It's like getting that quick fix. It's that ooh, I feel good. I got lots of subscribers or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like really what's gonna feel even better than that is the impact that I make. You know, so anyway, it's I gotta be more zen. I get to be more zen. You know, anyway. My ego is struggling in this process because it's almost like me talking about ego. This is so meta. It's it's total inception because me talking about ego, there's a part of my ego that's like, oh hey look Richard, you're making yourself look good and all humble and stuff like that, you know, and I acknowledge that part of my ego that's doing that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Like I'm almost like patting myself on the back in this process of telling about how I want to let go of ego. Anyway, I'm gonna try to keep talking about this. Let's see. Araceli says, you said you want to surf? I did not say that. Nah, I'm not much of a surfer, but I did. Fun fact, I don't know how many of you know Bethany Hamilton. She was the professional surfer who got her arm bit off by a shark. And she's also, they made a movie after her called Soul Surfer. Anyway, back in the day, pretty much, I think that year she got attacked by a shark, I actually had private surf lessons with Bethany Hamilton. I won it on the radio. It was really awesome. And then I ended up in the newspaper. Like it was front page of the sports section. So that was a cool experience. That was like 2005 or something like that. All right, let's get back to these questions. All right. Russian person. Sorry, I can't pronounce her name. Maybe you can give me a phonetic translation. Okay, Russian person. I'm going to pronounce it like an idiot American would pronounce it because I don't know how to read it. So, Kepren. This is so bad. Lo? Echo. It's so bad. I know that's nothing close to your name, but I just want to do that. Okay, cool. Any tips on working from home? I tend to screw up schedule when not being controlled. So I work from home constantly. And if I'm being completely real, I believe home I feel like you really got to set up your environment properly. If you don't set up your environment properly, it's like, it can be a little bit toxic. It can be a little bit counterproductive. So where you're watching me, do this live stream, this is my desk where I do all my work. Guess what? It is right next to my bed, which is right there. Um, and having just the mere fact of having a bed in the same room that you work in is a little bit distracting. So before I used to just take naps when I'm tired, and then I recently got challenged to be like, hey, yo, Richard, you should your blankets, you should lock up your blankets so you don't take naps. And so I did an adaptation of that, which is now I instead of folding my, I always make my bed. Instead of making my bed, having a flat blanket, I fold my blanket up and I put it at the headrest to indicate that I'm not going to sleep. And I've been doing it for 2 to 3 days now, and I don't take naps until I finish my main my big one task of the day. And yeah, so if I feel sleepy, guess what? I'm allowed to fall asleep in my chair where I'm sitting, but I'm not allowed to sleep in my bed, which is more comfortable and dangerous for not being productive. Sorry, let me get back to your oh, Sergi. Thank you, Sergi. I appreciate you clarifying your name. So tips for working from home. Let's see. It's important to create your schedule. Uh, let's see. One thing I'm learning is right now, one of my biggest challenges is tackling that biggest task first. It's I don't know, I have a lot of resistance towards tackling the biggest, most important task of the day, that one task. But what I realize, like I usually create a huge checklist of like 7 different things I have to do today. And then my normal strategy is, okay, well, I got to do them anyway. So let's just tackle the easy stuff first in a way. But once I get to the most important task, which is like towards the end of the day, I get really tired. So I'm trying to learn to train myself to switch it so I do most important first, and then everything else will be easy after that, right? Another thing is I notice, so I haven't done enough experimenting. Like I have my workstation set up here at home. Like, I got an external monitor. I have everything plugged in. So it's a little bit of a hassle to disconnect everything and go to a coffee shop. But I think one thing I'm going to try a little bit more of is stop being lazy and, take my laptop and go to a coffee shop and just work from there. Because I think for me personally, like this home environment is way too comfortable. It's way too easy to get distracted. And it's like, the lines get blurry between, personal stuff and business stuff in a way. Like, I've been pretty good about not wasting too much time, but I still will. What I do a lot of productive procrastination, which is I still do things. It's just not what I said I would do. Like if I don't have a lot of energy or I'm tired or sleepy and I can't focus, I end up cleaning the house, which is not work related. But if I went to a coffee shop, I can't clean my house. I get to focus on work. So that's kind of my tip. I'm not the best expert with this one, so that's what I'll give you. So Sergi says, so the main tip on working from home is to get away from home. That's kind of my tip right now. Yes. I hope that's helpful. Alrighty. Hey Lan, good to see you on again. I have to head out. You guys have a nice evening. You too. Anathox, good to see you on, brother. Did I buy Bitcoin? No, I did not buy Bitcoin. So just to fill anyone in who's not familiar with Bitcoin, this year, like this past 6 months, Bitcoin has blown up. Like if you invested in Bitcoin, you would be filthy rich. Like it is ridiculous how much Bitcoin has grown. I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that I'm pretty sure Bitcoin has increase its value by like 4 times at least or something like that, if depending on when you purchased it in the more recent year. So yes, I currently do not invest in anything besides my 401k retirement stuff. That's an area of opportunity for me. Like I want to build up more financial knowledge and investing knowledge, so it's money is working for me instead of me working for money. Yeah, but that's a huge black hole for me that I struggle with. Yeah, Denise, you're welcome. Let's see. You're so sweet. Fell in love when you said my name. Aw, thank you. All right. Anathox, you know about superego and the id? I learned it in psychology back in high school. I know it's the iceberg. There's the id, ego, and superego. I don't remember what it is. I would love to do a little bit of research of what it is again. Let's see here. I'm gonna make a self note to myself to look up what that is. Super ego, id, ego. It's been too long. Ventroid, good to see you on. Thanks for hopping on. Chow Derp, hey, what's going on? Jay, good to see you on. It has been a while. Good to see you. All right. Let's see. By the way, I did not miss your comments. I might be looking at them a little bit out of order for a good reason. Okay, let's see. Sergi, oh, I got that. Ventroy says, I agree. Most social media sites are designed to trigger dopamine, satisfaction hormone. Whenever you get likes, retweets, that's why your ego gets boosted artificially from social media. Yes, it's so interesting. Social media is genius. You know, it's goodness. So I'm going to talk about Quora for a second. So for anyone who doesn't know about the social media platform Quora, Quora, it's a social media platform that is literally all it is asking questions and answering questions. That's all it is. I'm a little bit in love with this platform because if you can tell by now, like I love answering questions. It stimulates my brain. It gives me an opportunity to give, and that's just a core part of who I am. But anyway, core for me is a little bit addicting because I mean the numbers. It's so easy to get views on Quora. Like I've spent maybe a total of 1.5 hours to 2 hours max answering questions, and I answered about probably 32 questions so far, and I've already gotten over 3,000 views on my answers. I don't know if people are actually reading it, but anyway, the numbers are exciting, and that's a little dopamine rush for me. So anyway, I think it's a good platform where people actually read the answers. So I do enjoy doing that. Yeah, so you could find if you're on Quora or whatever, you can find me Richard Quo. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the details of that. Or you could just look at if you add me on Facebook, I post my Quora answers there too on my news feed. Okay, let's see. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, where we at? Where we at? Okay, Onathox, I believe in letting success speak for itself and work hard without telling people about it. I think that's amazing. Let success speak for itself and work hard without telling people about it. Whew. I love that, and this is a struggle. I get to do that more. I really do. There's a part of me, if I'm being 100% real, there's a part of me that still continues to seek validation. Like, I like telling people about my accomplishments. I try not to brag about it, but I like sharing it a little bit because it makes me feel validated. And as a human emotion, I think that's okay. However, I don't think it's healthy to continue to seek validation. It's a little bit of I don't want to, I want to say catch-22. I don't know if that's the right term to use in this case, but so part of the reason I share my wins, like let's say I go to the gym, I run for 6 miles or something like that. That's kind of cool. So one of them is like it validates me, which makes me feel good. It's like a fake feel good, so I shouldn't focus on that. But at the same time, I do know when I post content like that, it will inspire people. Like, oh shoot, like you know, I should go to the gym too and maybe try to run 6 miles. I didn't know that was possible. Stuff like that. So it's kind of it serves two purposes. One is, good. The other one is maybe a little bit egocentric. So working through that. Denise says, so when are we getting married? That's a good question. Maybe we should, I'm like, what, how do you figure this stuff out? Ask a fortune teller. Ventroid, well, that escalated quickly. Was it Georgie? Says, oh shoot, no, it's not. What is it? Sergi says, so oh, sorry, I already answered that. Denise says, I've been in love with him for a while now, so no, didn't escalate that fast. Hilarious. Sergi says, Bitcoin is a gamble, not an investment. Let's see. I don't know. Like that's I don't know what to say. Like my brother invests in Bitcoin, so uh, it's hard to say. It really is. I would say it's a little bit of both. It is a little bit of a gamble, but it's also an investment too. You know, it's definitely both. It's because we don't know where it's going to go. What if, in 2 days it just completely tanks and everyone loses their money? All right, Cali Day, yay! Good to see you on. I do checklists too, but when I can't follow through, I get really discouraged and slack. Any tips on how to bounce back and get back on track? Oh goodness, Callie, this is such a great question, and I say that because this is something I too struggle with. I'll give you as much information as I possibly can, and I'm not perfect with it, but I think we can learn just through conversation and discussing this out loud. So let's see. So we have checklists, but sometimes we don't follow through with our checklists. How do we, what's that word? How do we not get discouraged and how do we keep moving forward? Um, one thing that the girl I'm dating kind of encouraged me, like a few days ago, I felt really discouraged because I was slacking off, I was falling behind. And she encouraged me by just saying something very simple, which is, that's okay. Tomorrow is day one, you know? So I'm going to repeat that again. Like, that's okay. Tomorrow is day number one. So give yourself permission to reset tomorrow, you know? Whatever, go to sleep. And tomorrow, like, trust me, on this day when I was falling behind my schedule, I started feeling really anxious and disappointed in myself, and I didn't feel confident in myself that I can do it. And when I went to sleep, I'm just like, yeah, thanks for trying to encourage me, but really, I don't feel ready for tomorrow. Like I don't feel committed. I lost track, and I got a good night's sleep. And in the next morning, I woke up in the morning, early-ish, and guess what? I woke up in the morning. I felt better. I felt better. I'm like, you know what? Today is day one. Today's day one, and I get to continue moving forward. So let's see here. So Callie, if you ever feel discouraged about not accomplishing your checklists, don't give up. Give yourself, accept yourself. Give yourself. It is okay to fail. It is okay to not accomplish what you say you will. Not to say like to keep doing it, but like give yourself permission to fail, and then just continue to pick yourself up. I think that's how we push through things, and that's how we grow. Is don't beat ourselves up too much. Know that it's okay to fail, and then get back up and keep going. And then if you're struggling with getting back up and keep going, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just pick yourself back up and keep going after that. So I think that's the hard but the true strategy that goes along with that. All right. Cupid says, just got to bed and practice. I'll listen to the rest of your video later. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Cupid. Appreciate that a lot. Have a great night as well. Costa, I don't know if you're still on. If you are, yes, it has been a while. My man Costa is from Florida. I can't remember how we connected, but we connected, and I remember doing a live, like a video call with you, like 1 or 2 years ago. So that's really cool. Alrighty, Ventroid says, Quora is pretty nice. Usually I get my answers from Quora whenever I Google questions. Ooh, interesting. Okay, Anathox says, people will appreciate you, look up to you more when you find out about your success and not bragging or acting normal about it. How do you find, yes, I agree with that. I love humility. I love people who are humble and they don't need to share about their wins and things like that. Who dat? All right. So Anathox, on this note about, ego and not bragging about our success, I have friends who I don't know how to say, like, I have so much respect for my friends who, they work out really, really hard, but like you wouldn't even, unless you paid really close attention, like you wouldn't even know that they were super ripped and fit because they don't talk about it. They don't show off. They wear just regular t-shirts, and like I just love that humility that people have. That's such a beautiful thing, and I strive to be like that too. I got an ego. It's there. It's a balance, and my goal, like I think when I'll be happy, have a nice, really comforting, in alignment sense of happiness is that day where I no longer need to validate myself. I no longer need to show off to other people, my accomplishments, and I just know, I just already know, I don't need to. The only person I might need to validate is myself, which I don't even need to validate. Just I do it because I enjoy doing it. That's it. So I'm working towards that. Yes, thank you for that. Okay, Anathox says, how do you find a circle of friends that are successful so that you're surrounded by success? Yes, let's see. Hold on. Sleeping naps really cools down your emotions. It really helps when you're sad, angry, frustrated. Just nap, sleep, and your emotions will restore. Cool. That's the second topic. So let's start with this one. Again, the question is, how do you find circle of friends that are successful so that you're surrounded by success? You got to look for your circles of interest. Like what's your passion? What are your feelings? Like, sorry, I got distracted by a comment. Ventroid, I'll respond to your comment in just a second. So, if you're looking for a successful group of friends, you go figure out where are they hanging out and go hang out in those places they're hanging out. Like that's literally how you do it. So this could be physically in person. This could also be online. I'm involved with two main communities. Number one is the entrepreneur community. So I got a lot of entrepreneur friends. And then my second group of friends, I would say, is more the youth speaking circuit. So people who speak to middle school, high school students. Entrepreneurs, let's see where there's two ways I connect with entrepreneurs. The one, again, is in person. The other one is online. So I literally have entrepreneurs who are like, ooh, this person seems really cool. I've never met them before, but I'm going to connect with them on Facebook. And from there, we build up a relationship. Like I've interviewed a lot of people who are super awesome that I've never ever met in person because they live, halfway across the country or the world. But I'm still able to build up relationships. So that's how you find people. It's, it's building. It's like making friendships. Like you just got to find where the people are and go hang out where they are. So as an entrepreneur, I go to conferences. Conferences are such a great way to connect and build relationships with entrepreneurs and like-minded people. Literally, I feel like what feeds me. All my friends today, in a sense, besides my high school friends, but most of my friends are in the entrepreneur community, and I love them because they're so vision focused. They're hustlers. They care about the world, and that's the type of people I want to hang out with. So I go to conferences every single year. If you're, Anathox, let me see I can't remember where you live, but like the conferences I go to, there's one in San Diego. There's like two in Vegas. No, there's two in San Diego, maybe 2 to 3 in San Diego, maybe even 4 that I normally go to. There's 2 in Vegas, and there's one in Northern California in the Bay Area or San Jose. So that's how I connect with people. Montreal. Let's see, Montreal. Goodness, hold on. I'm gonna double check. I know this is. I feel so silly that I have to check out exactly where Montreal is. Okay, so there, Montreal. I don't know the Montreal dynamic, but what I do know is there should. I don't want to promise anything. Like I don't know, like what's your industry? Like what are the type of people you want to hang out with? I'm pretty sure you can find entrepreneurs in pretty much any city, especially larger cities like Montreal. But I do know if you're into entrepreneurship, there is a large community in Toronto. I'm like, that's probably a little bit far. Yeah, that's a bit of ways. Uh, yeah, so I don't know. Just if it's hard to meet up with people and go to conferences, maybe you don't have the funding or whatever it is. Number one, figure out a way to do it and just do it. And number two, join online communities. Like literally, like randomly, if you see someone you're interested, you see their profile, just add them as a friend and start building relationships. I've done that with dozens of people, probably hundreds of people. Like, I'm like, I'll connect with them. They accept me as a friend. Not everyone's going to accept you as your friend, but some do. And when they do, it's like, yay, I saw your profile and I just really love what you're doing. I love your energy. And, sometimes I ask, hey, do you want to collab or whatever it is? Or sometimes I just follow them. I've met some really cool people. Like, Like Carolyn Rim is one of my faves. She's she has she's connected with Tony Robbins. You know, the we'll call him the quote unquote the motivational guru. So yeah, that's really cool. Like she is good friends, and her mentor is Joseph McClendon III, who is like pretty much Tony Robbins' sidekick. You know, the one that speaks at all his conferences and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. All right, there we go. Uh, let's do this. Anantak says sleeping naps really cool down your emotions. It really helps when you're sad, angry, frustrated, stuff like that. I think napping and sleeping are great. Well, okay, let's talk about sleeping at night. I think sleeping at night is super important. I know that's super typical, cliche, and I talked about this already, but yes, sleeping at night for a minimum of a certain amount of hours is pretty important, and it's important to just understand our body and respect our body's needs. And if you notice, if you're sleepy during the day, chances are you're not sleeping enough at night. Let's talk about naps. So naps, yes, they can be refreshing. I think we get to be careful of them. For myself, I oversleep. I overnap, and I think sometimes I nap because it's easier to do because I think it's going to refresh me. Well, sometimes I just need to push through that tired stage, and then once I get over that tired stage, I can keep going, and it just works out. There's just this little hump, it's that sleepy zone. Whew, alrighty. All right, Ventroid, good to see you on. Take care. We'll catch up later. Okay, cool. So I think we're caught up with, yep, we are caught up with questions right now. So the last thing I want to do before we hop off is I always like to recap this whole conversation. Not necessarily the questions, but more specifically the topic of this conversation, which is how do we create our life goals, our life vision, and our life mission. So I'm going to recap this. If you have more questions, feel free to ask me, right now, or shoot me an email, richard@retroco.com, or shoot me a message, whatever, direct message. So creating life goals. Let's start with creating a mission in our lives. A mission is created by thinking about, in this moment, what are you passionate about? And again, don't worry about it being perfect. Your life mission does not have to be perfect. How you discover your life mission is by being imperfect, by just letting yourself guess what your mission is, because all you need is a starting point to figure out what your true mission is. And eventually, when you become more self-aware, you'll discover, what is it truly that you're passionate about. And for me, self-esteem, it's teens and young adults. Teens and young adults to me because they are, teens and young adults are kind of like the future. They're going to be here longer than older people. So that's why I like focusing on teens and young adults. And I don't believe teens should be living their life struggling with self-esteem. Like that's such a waste of energy, time, and joy and happiness. Everyone should be loving themselves and living life, as happy as they can be, because we all deserve it. Okay, so that's mission. Let's talk about how do you create goals. How we create goals is I didn't complete my conversation here, but I'll do it right now. Is you think about a time frame. So I like to do either 3 month or 6 month goals. That's just the time frame that I like to work with. So choose one. It could be longer, it could be shorter, up to you. But I recommend 3 months, 3 months or 6 months. And this is actionable, tangible goals, by the way. So you create your goals, and I would recommend when you create goals in all areas, like at least one goal in each area of your life. Don't just focus on school. Don't just focus on business. Don't just focus on money. Don't just focus on fitness. I think those are great. Those are great. Those work. I don't want to shut you down on that one. If you want to create those single, category goals, go for it. If you want to change your life, I recommend breaking down into 6 different categories of your life. Number 1 is your health. Number 2 is your finances. Number 3, relationships. Number 4, leisure. So, taking care of yourself. 5 is community. What's the impact that you want to make in the community? And number 6 is, what is it? Spiritual. What's your spiritual growth like? Again, those are just 6 categories that I use in my leadership program. You don't need to stick with these 6 categories. You can just search Wheel of Life, and they'll give you like 10 different categories or 8 different categories. You pick whatever categories are important to you and just balance your life. That's my main point. So that's how you create life goals, or more short-term goals. Um, and then let's talk about vision. How do you create a vision? Honestly, it's similar to mission. How you create a vision for your life is stop focusing on being so perfect with it. Be imperfect. Give yourself permission to screw it up. Give yourself permission to speak what's on your mind and just go for it. Again, I was scared to have a vision of my life because I'm like, I don't know what I want to accomplish before I die. Like what's my mission? And the mission I just created out of the blue, it was super random. Like I created it in less than 5 seconds, was um, to help 10 million people, mostly teens and young adults, uh, embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and live life in alignment with who they truly are. Now, this isn't a perfectly clear one, but it gives me a direction to work towards. So now I can kind of figure out, okay, how many students do I need to speak to in my lifetime? Let's say I need to speak to 2 million out of the 10 million. Okay. Okay. So 10 million, sorry, 2 million students. So how many presentations do I need to give? And by how many a year how many gigs do I need to book? How big are the audiences? And how many people in the audience are actually going to take action? So then, okay, if it's 2 million out of 10 million, that means I have to do more than just speaking. That means I have to extend my reach online, make more videos, things that are scalable. Yeah, so that's how you create a vision. You just kind of you try it out, you guess. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it evolves. You improve it along the way. Alrighty, so let's see. All right. What we got here? Callie says, thanks. I'll work on that and have a happy holiday, Richard. Thank you, Callie. Appreciate it very much. All right. So before we hop off, there are 2 quick announcements I want to make. Number one, if you were on a few days ago, I talked about that I'm creating a challenge. Originally, it was going to be a 15-day challenge. I'm still adjusting the details of it. But let's talk about the benefit. First of all, this is a completely free challenge. I'm not charging for it. The purpose of the challenge is I want to create this is part of my life mission, is to create a system where it's like almost like an automated system. I'll be here, but it's a process. Create a platform where people will change their life by changing their little habits. So my vision for this right now, it's constantly evolving. My current vision for this is that I'm going to create something monthly. It might be I'm going to say like a 28-day challenge, and where you're going to set certain goals for yourself for 28 days. So part of it is you're going to start creating better habits, like eating healthier, exercising, stuff like that. Just daily habits to better your life. So that's part of it. We'll call it part A. Part B is there is going to be either daily challenges or like challenges every other day that will stretch you even further to build up your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and stuff like that. So my goal is to make this monthly challenge, like game-changing, like that it will actually make a difference in your life, and you'll start to see, and maybe this will be the catalyst that will help get you started and rolling into living, changing your life. Maybe, that is the goal of this whole entire challenge, this monthly challenge. And then part of the challenge is like, I want to do this every single month, and I want to structure it in a way that, let's say we start January, right? That's my intention. So you finish January and you're like, oh shoot, that was really awesome. I really enjoyed that. I felt like I changed a lot about myself in this one month, but I want to keep growing and learning. So guess what? February, it's going to restart again. And then March, it's going to do it again. So the purpose is I want to create a sustaining system that we can all continue to develop ourselves. That's not too tacky, not too hard to remember, and it's really simple. That's what I want to do. So I have 2 notes. Number one is I've already created a little bit of an outline, but if you're interested in being part of the beta group, I want to do a little bit of testing to make sure that it works really well. So if you want to be part of the beta group, I'm going to be testing. I want to test this for maybe a week to 7 to 10 days before the new year. And then, I would love to get your feedback and how we can improve this so other people can, change their lives in a way. So I love to get some beta participants, such as yourselves. So please shoot me a message, or if you shoot me an email or a direct message, and like, hey, I'd love to be part of the beta team and help you test this out and see how this works. I would 100% like love and appreciate you so much, because I need feedback from it. Otherwise, I don't know if it works or not. Second thing is, if you're not interested in being part of the beta team, but you want to join in on this monthly challenge, my goal is January 1st is going to be the first challenge launch date. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of things I'm thinking about, and I'm, pushing hard to try to organize this to make it as impactful as possible. So, yep, that was, I would say, the big main announcement. And the other small announcement is our next Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Our next live will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same time as always. Here, LA time, 8 p.m. LA time. That's for me. That's the 21st of December. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. Raskid, thanks for tuning in. Late again. Happy holidays to all of you. And tomorrow will be the last. Tomorrow will be the last